Most players think Duke is strong, but they don't understand why he actually works. Duke is not a unit you just drop. He's a decision, and every decision depends on one thing: his weaknesses. These are the factors that determine whether Duke carries your attack or becomes useless. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to read the base first, how to identify where Duke actually gets value, and how to build your entire plan around that. Because once you fix this, your attacks stop feeling random and become predictable. Even though Duke is one of the strongest units in Clash of Clans, he also has important weaknesses that you must understand. If you don't respect these weaknesses, Duke can lose value very quickly and your entire attack can collapse. So the goal here is simple: give you a clear framework for decision making. There are 5 main weaknesses you need to keep in mind. After explaining them, I will show you real attacks and how to deal with each situation in practice. This way, you can connect theory with execution and actually improve your gameplay. The first weakness is the skeleton trap. Since Duke does not deal splash damage, he targets skeletons one by one. This means that in high damage areas, skeleton traps can delay him a lot and prevent him from clearing defenses efficiently. Because of that, you always need to watch for positions where Duke can get stuck, especially when multiple defenses are hitting him. The second weakness is the clan castle. This becomes even more dangerous when there are headhunters inside. Headhunters can kill Duke very quickly, and if you use your poison on the headhunters, you won't have it available for the furnace. That's why this combination is so strong. So you need to decide carefully. Will Duke deal with the clan castle, or should another part of your army handle it? The third weakness is the monolith. This is one of the worst defenses for Duke. It deals damage based on troop HP, and since Duke has a lot of HP, he actually takes more damage than most units. If Duke is exposed to the monolith without support, he can die very quickly. The fourth weakness is air defenses. They deal very high single target damage. If Duke does not remove them quickly, he will take massive damage over time. So you always need to consider how fast those defenses will go down before committing Duke. The fifth and most problematic weakness is the air sweeper. Duke is strong and tanky, but he is also slow. If he gets pushed back, he loses time, loses efficiency, and can even be redirected into the wrong path. That's why sweeper positioning is one of the first things you should check when planning your attack. Now let's take a look at some attacks and how to plan them and how to decide the entry. As you can see, I'm using Fireheart and Stun Blaster. This is one of the strongest Duke combinations. So the first thing you need to check is the air sweeper positioning, because in this setup, Duke is the most important hero and the most important piece of this strategy. So what you need to do first is check where Duke has the most value, not where you are going to enter with your troops. This is very important. First, to check Duke's position. After that, you decide where your troops are going to enter. Now in this base, the air defenses are in these positions and the sweepers are at the top. Because of that, I'm going to enter from the bottom and use Duke on the right side. Duke creates the funnel for the throwers, and the throwers create the funnel for Duke. So I want Duke going up, while the throwers clear the bottom side. And since there is no monolith, no air defense, and no sweeper on that side, Duke can clear that entire section very easily. So now, let's look at the execution. I start with throwers from the bottom because I need them to take out the air defenses first. This reduces the pressure on Duke. I also need the throwers to deal with the monolith because if I use Duke alone, he can die very easily. After the throwers hit the air defense, I deploy Duke on the right side. And as you can see, there is a very strong path for Duke to clear the entire right side. The throwers remove the monolith, which makes it much easier for Duke to move without taking heavy damage. In this case, I place the log launcher slightly to the left. Why? Because Duke is already clearing the right side, so I don't want to enter from the center. If I go from the center, the troops can split to both sides. But if I go slightly to the left, there is a higher chance the troops follow the correct path, since the right side is already controlled by Duke. This is very important. When you enter from the corner in this type of base, you need to be careful. The log launcher can destroy the corner defenses, and if there is nothing inside to guide your troops, they can split, so I don't like placing it exactly in the corner. Usually, I place it slightly off, depending on where Duke is creating the funnel. Now, another important concept, as I always say, is deciding who is going to tank. Since there is a rage in the core, I use my heroes to tank the left side. This reduces the pressure on the throwers. I deploy the king and queen on the side to tank the X-bow, while the throwers move in a straight line, and Duke gets full value on the right side. Now the clan castle starts coming out, and here, I use a totem. The purpose of the totem is to keep the witch in place. If you don't do this, the witch can move forward and leave the poison. When there is witch and furnace in the clan castle, if you combine totem and poison, you can eliminate both. Because the witch stays inside the poison and cannot escape. This is a very important trick. Witches are extremely dangerous for this army because the throwers don't deal splash damage, so they struggle a lot against skeletons. After that, the queen clears the left side and Duke clears the right side. Then I use the overgrowth spell, slightly to the right. Why to the right? Because I want my throwers in to drift a little more to the left, so they can help tank for the king and queen. That's the idea behind that placement. If throwers and heroes are closer together, they overload the defenses. So this overgrowth helps with that, better synchronization between the core and the side. The log launcher opens multiple walls, and from this point, it's basically a guaranteed triple. There isn't much left in the base. Now, let's check the next one. Another base. This base has double rage. And as I said, you need to check the sweepers. The sweepers are pointing down, so one of the best positions to enter is with Duke from the top, since he won't be affected by them. Also, there is an air defense at the side and a monolith near the town hall, so I need to be very careful. Where is the best position for Duke? Here, at the town hall area, because he doesn't get affected by the sweeper, and also avoids dealing with the air defense. I'm going to use Duke toward the monolith, but there is a lot of damage there, so I can't send him alone. I need something to tank for him. That's why I need to use throwers close to Duke, so I can spread the damage. As I said in other videos, you need synchronization between the core and the side. The core are the throwers, and the side is Duke. If I send Duke alone here, he won't clear anything. I need something to tank for him, so I reduce the pressure and get more value from Duke. That's why I start with the throwers, to tank the monolith, Teslas, and heroes. This concept is very important. Even if Duke's best position is at the top, don't send him alone. You need throwers supporting him. Now, who starts first here? The throwers start first, because there is less pressure on them. They are outside the base, while Duke is going inside. So the throwers go first, and Duke comes later. This is very important, because if you don't do this, you won't get value. In this position, since Duke is with Phoenix, he doesn't focus on defenses immediately. So I create a small funnel with a thrower. I break the wall on the left side to make the execution easier, so I don't need to deal with it later. Then I use some archers at the top to complete the funnel. This way, I can send Duke directly toward the monolith. After funneling, I deploy the throwers, healers, and Duke. As I said, the throwers are supporting Duke's entry. They move together. Also, in this type of base, around the monolith, there are usually air skeletons, and this can make it very hard for Duke to clear. So you need to wait for the air skeletons to appear before using the ability. The ability will clear all of them and also help against heroes. So don't rush here. Duke is clearing. Now I use the ability, and it takes out the right side, the enemy Duke. This allows Duke to clear the entire top side. Then I enter from the right. Now, in this position, I made a small mistake. I was a little late with the king. Ideally, the king should tank the expo. Why? Because there is a rage in the core, so there is a lot of damage. The king should tank it. To reduce pressure on the throwers will clear the side first, and only later deal with the expo. So I was a bit late here, small execution error. Since there is a rage, I need to be careful. I also use the troop launcher to help break the walls. It opens multiple layers, making it easier for the throwers. Even so, it helps me break into the core, take the expo, and push forward. Now the clan castle comes out, and I use the overgrowth spell to help deal with it. In this position, I use it more defensively, just to tank. Here, I'm dealing with ice golems. Ice golems freeze the troops while in range of the revenge tower. Using here, I reduce this damage while dealing with clan castle. This is one good use for overgrowth spell, so I prefer to use it here. If there was no clan castle, I could use it more to the right. Then the troops keep moving. I still have Duke on the right side, and I use a revive spell to support him, and that finishes the base. As you can see, Duke got massive value in this attack. Now you understand how Duke actually works. It all comes down to how you read the base and where you choose to use him. When you get this right, your decisions become clearer, your attacks become more consistent, and you start getting real value from Duke. If this helped you, you can support the channel by using code Marinol in the Clash of Clans store. And if you want to keep improving your understanding of the game, subscribe to the channel. That's what I focus on here.